You looking for me, you can find me at the barbershop. Pulling up to get a cut, bumping through the parking lot. I keep it clean, Rico's where I'm running to. If you in the city, then you probably gonna be coming to. Gang getting down, Red's getting down, Nick getting down, Ron getting down, just to name a few. Everybody blade on point. You trying to get fresh, I'm telling you this the joint. Hands down, top shop up in this vicinity. Promises age 9, LaRon been getting me. Temper on the side, I'm trying to grow out the way.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the K.O.S. Barber Club podcast, where we discuss the collection of wisdom on the science of everything in life. And we do so by interviewing our guests and seeing and knowing where they obtained knowledge of self, in the fact that they had a self-awareness. And then after that, they created a self-concept, which took them to become the man that they are today. And with me today, I have a very special guest. He's a fighter, but he's not only a fighter, a physical fighter. He's a mental fighter. He's a spiritual fighter. He's a documentarian. He's a keynote speaker. His last documentary, I saw it, Taking the Fight. I recommend you guys watch that. It's streaming now on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, iTunes, and Google Play. Without further ado, Stuart Warren Dansby.
Thank you, Gene.
How are
Appreciate
you?
it. I am perfect, man.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for reaching out.
Oh, truly my privilege, honestly.
Yeah, like we were talking about that just now before we started filming, that you feel like it's a mission that you're on, correct?
Absolutely. It's, we use the word inspired a lot. And what that word means is to be in spirit, really.
Okay.
If you define it, meaning you're functioning in your highest form because you're in your spirit of what you want to accomplish. And for me, it started with my very first fight. And I was blessed enough to win that first fight. And throughout that, people were coming up to me and telling me they were inspiring me. And it took me back. I was like, man, I'm just trying to...
Have you ever been told that before?
No.
So it made you feel a new feeling.
It was a new feeling. At first, I kind of blew it off. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to knock a motherfucker out and not get knocked out.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I literally don't know what you're talking about. Kept happening and happening. And then I got to my first fight, and I won that, and I got to the finals of a tournament. And at the end of that tournament, I lost that fight in the championship, and the guy was fighting probably 25, 30 years younger than me. He looks at me as soon as the fight's over, and he said, "How old are you?" Like, that was the question that was driving him crazy through all these rounds. And I'm like...
They must have told him, though.
No, they didn't.
Idea,
they didn't. But he was looking at me. So I'm looking at him. I don't look at guys and go and think, well, he's this age or he's that age. I look and say, hey, he's got a great jab. He's got a great low kick. How do I counter that, right? That's what matters. But he's clearly looking at me saying, we're not the same age group. We're not the same generation, right? So I said, I'm 55. He's like, no way. No fucking way.
Wow. And
they held his hand up to be the winner. And as the referee held his hand up, he grabs my hand, he holds it up, and he's literally crying, tears of joy. And he told me later, he goes, I was just overwhelmed. And he screams into the crowd, and he says, this is your champion. This is your fucking champion.
You got emotional?
I did.
Did you tear up or cry? Or?
I think I teared up because I wasn't expecting it. It was my second fight, right? But the second in that night, that first night fighting. So there's so much emotion. And then guys were coming up to me out of the stands, the grown men that I didn't know, holding me, hugging me, telling me crazy stuff. Wow. And I walked off the mat that night, and I just said to myself, God blessed me with a journey that I shouldn't have. And when I say that, Gene, what I mean is I have so many talented fighters literally kicking my ass with love, dropping me and screaming at me, get back up, Stuart, get back up.
This
Come
is in
at
training.
Me. In training. Yeah. Like Yoel Romero, right?
Yeah.
The great UFC fighter was training with me at that time at Freedom Fighters MMA. He would push me, but so many other fighters. And two great coaches, one, Manolo Lopez at Freedom Fighters in the MMA Florida Hall of Fame, Greg Choplin, 3-time WBC Muay Thai champion, opposing coaches in my corner. So when I say I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be able to do it, I'm surrounded by the highest level of people that are lifting me up and pushing me and kicking my ass with love, right?
Yeah, you have to take it.
Yeah.
There's no reason why not to
and
take the opportunity.
You got to rise to that, right?
Which is the difficult part.
Yeah.
Mentally.
But every time you do, when they give you more, my obligation was to give them more back. Because when I gave them more back, they rose and the whole team rose,
Of course, right? Man. Like I know exactly how that is because I played soccer my whole life. And as I got older, we got younger players to come play with us. And you, as an older player want to keep up with them.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you're like, he's not that good. I could keep up with him. But then Father Time wins.
Yeah.
So when I said mentally, I know that you have physical pain, and then you have the mental thought of, damn, should I be doing this? The age.
Oh, yeah.
But you still surpass through that.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked you earlier when we were telling us the story of your fight, if you've ever felt that feeling before, and you said no. And then you got joy and you felt sadness. And then the thing that I've learned and I've read about when you're young, when you have traumas, you kind of suppress that memories. That's like a personal, like, inner protection that your body has, and you forget things. And also when you're a kid, everything's amazing because when you experience the feeling, you're like, wow, this is a new feeling. So then that sparks something inside of you.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked you, like, have you ever felt that feeling before? You said no.
Yeah.
I believe that's what's driving you, that feeling. Because when I was a kid, when I played soccer, I had that feeling, and I just wanted to keep playing.
It probably is. But at that moment, for me, it was. I just said, God bless me with a journey I shouldn't have. I want to pay it forward. I want to show people how they can achieve their dreams, because we all have things that hold us back from what our dreams are.
Of course.
We all doubt ourselves.
Of course.
We're all told, I'm not as smart as that guy. I don't have, we think, I don't have the resources of that girl. I don't have the education, so I can't be a CEO. My parents were lousy, so I can't be a good parent.
Excuses.
Right? And we get caught up in our own bullshit,
Doubts.
right? And the whole purpose and the reason I wanted to make a documentary was to show you, I by far am not a great athlete, right?
But yeah, what defines a great athlete? Because if skill set and all that is part of it. Because I've seen fighters that are really not as skilled, but they're there, and they're in the fight all the time.
Yeah.
So then that's the question, you know?
Those guys are champions.
Correct.
They're not necessarily great athletes.
Correct.
They're champions in their
Very well put,
mindset
yes.
and then their heart.
Exactly.
And I think that's the difference, what you develop. Because I always say the difference between stress and challenge is one word: perspective.
We'll
So
get
if I walk up to you and say, Gene,
it's funny you said
we had a
that.
fucking problem.
Yeah. You automatically
Instantly,
thinking,
internally, you're like, oh, shit, this can't be good. But if I say, Gene, we have a challenge. I need your help for us to solve it.
Correct.
There's a whole different energy in us internally. You're like, okay, we're going to do this together.
Yeah, the
We're going to
vibration
fix
of those
this,
words.
right?
Just the sound of it sounds fun.
Exactly. And what happens in those moments that we hit stress is we try and run away from it. We run away from it in work. We run away from it in relationships. Emotionally.
And that's what causes anxiety.
Yes. And we hit that wall physically, and our body's telling us, I don't want to do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. What we don't do is we don't run towards that moment. Okay. And when you run towards that moment,
no fear.
There's no fear. There's an opportunity for growth.
And once you pass it, you are like, wow.
You got that much better.
Yeah.
Before my last fight,
okay,
my wife said to me, why do you do this? Why do you continue to do this? And I didn't have a defined reason, but I said, emotionally, physically, spiritually, it makes me better because I go places I've never gone. I take myself through discomfort that I've never had, and it allows me to grow as a man, and it subsequently makes me a better husband, a better father, a better business person, a better friend, and a more spiritual person.
Yeah, it's more spiritual because your vibration centered, it's focused.
Yes.
It's not wobbly.
Yeah, you're convicted in what you are manifesting.
You wake up to purpose and you go to sleep with like anxiousness to start the next day. That's a beautiful thing. Not that many people have that.
You're correct. You're correct. I think we get caught up in very much wanting what we see.
Or we think we saw, because I believe half of what I see and nothing that I hear.
Yeah, that's.
I live by those rules and I never get disappointed and I'm fine.
Yeah,
you know?
That's great wisdom.
Yeah, I try because I told like knowledge of self. So I always interpreted it from the beginning of when I first got consciousness. That's why when we started the podcast, we discuss it and then we see where you took the decisions you had to make to get you to where you are now.
Correct.
So like, what was your first conscious thought as a child that you're like conscious that you're present and you remember that memory?
It's a tough question. Probably playing in the backyard when I was a little kid.
And you were a kid. Do you know what you were playing with?
I know there was a stream in our backyard, and that's about all I can remember. Right?
Do you know how old you were at that time?
Roughly 3 or 4.
Wow.
Probably 3.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think the furthest I could go is 4.5, 5 years old.
Yeah.
I don't remember not prior to that.
And what was your first one?
Paint, when I smelled paint for the first time.
Really?
I woke up, my aunt was getting married. I woke up, they were painting the house. It was in Colombia, Medellin, Colombia. And there we were getting everything ready in the house to marry them there. And when I woke up in the morning, I remember smelling something I've never smelled before. So I was like, what is that? So I got up, and I consciously remember I got up, and I was like, okay, what is going on? And then I went to go touch the wall because it looked shiny.
Of course you did.
And then I think it was my grandma or my uncle that was like, no, don't touch the wall. And I was like, whoa. And then I was like, what is that? And then they said, it's paint. So I remember that.
Interesting.
That's the furthest memory.
That's a
and
very
that's
specific memory.
Specific memory, because after that, I remember my aunt's wedding. And then I had my 5th birthday in that same house. And I remember it because I remember the white walls. And I remember it still smelled like paint for a while. So that's my furthest memory.
That's very cool.
So you were playing in the backyard.
Yeah.
Where was this?
That was Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
I grew up as a military kid, so we were all over the world.
So you got to see different cultures.
Yeah, and I think that's I actually talk about this in the documentary. It's one of the reasons I'm very comfortable in Miami, where I'm a minority, right?
Yeah, because it's a melting pot.
Yeah, I think there's 3 gringos left.
No, man, I see them all the time.
I see
They're coming from New York, Chicago.
They don't live here. It doesn't count.
New Jersey.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're buying properties. They're here.
You're right. But it's I was born in Japan, lived in Greece. My mom was Canadian, so I grew up living in other cultures, and you make choices, right? You want to be miserable, but as little kids, you don't know the difference, so it's really easy for you to adjust. You're in a different place, a different culture, and you just roll with it, right?
Yeah, both parents, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you had support from both father and mother.
I had a very normal childhood and great Depression-era parents,
Okay.
Dad was a World War II veteran, 30-year military man, and typical of that generation.
You heard a lot of stories.
No, he was very quiet.
Really?
He wouldn't tell the stories. He was very kind of stoic about that, and most of the
Kept
stories...
it private to himself.
Yes, and most of the stories I know about his military career, I pried out of him in the last 6 months that he was alive. But it was just like he would give you one-word answers because he was just that humble, down-to-earth kind of guy, right?
Wow.
That would never brag. Just the salt-of-the-earth guy, led by example. And I think he was the best role model that I could have.
I was about to ask. So he was a role model. So he developed you at a young, early age.
Yeah, and the moments that I thought he was going to react harshly, he always reacted with compassion and kindness, right? And he was that, what they called the greatest generation. He was just warm but quiet, kept to himself. Not quiet in the sense he wouldn't speak his mind. He had a temper, and I remember when the jawline would tighten up, and you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, the world's going to end that."
When parents do that,
yeah.
This before you had tablets to give your kids.
Yeah,
you would act up, and they'll just look at you and be like, "Wait until we get home." And then
like,
the whole ride home, you're like, "Damn."
"No, maybe they'll forget. Maybe they'll forget."
You'd be like, you act all nice in the car, and they look at you like, "No, don't say nothing." You're like, "Oh, yeah, I remember that." That's
exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, so your father was strict, military, so you looked up to him. He was your like hero in a sense, correct?
Yeah, very much so.
And I would say that maybe what you're experiencing now as an athlete at this age, it's like the hardest thing you've probably ever done, correct?
Yeah, it is by far.
Have you ever had that voice of doubt?
Many, many, many times.
And because of your father's guidance, do you hear him and his guidance when you doubt yourself?
I think I don't so much hear him, but he's always there that I want to make him proud, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
so I would know what his standards would be, right?
And you make decisions from that.
Yeah.
You think a lot of that has helped you?
A ton. And I also have coaches and fighters around me that I've understood my role. When I'm sparring in K.O. zone or freedom fighters, Gene, I'm never the best fighter in the room. Never.
What is it? It's not the size of it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to.
Correct.
And that's what my coaches have said to me. And kind of said it behind my back to the other team. Like, if
Stuart's
Stuart
doing
can
it,
do it, you can do it. I have a good friend of mine, Frank Ricci, that just fought in bare knuckle this past weekend, won by knockout, former bare knuckle middleweight champion. I called him Saturday, as I do all my friends, all my teammates, the day of a fight, to give him my love, to give him my energy.
That's awesome.
And he said, I'm going to tell you a story. And I'm like, what is? You probably don't remember this, but about 10 years ago, I came to Freedom Fighters for the first time. He's like, I was an amateur fighter. I said, I remember that day. And he said, I walked in and I saw the fighters and Freedom Fighters. And he said, in my head, he said, okay, I've been training like with guys in a cardio kickbox class because this shit is the real deal, right? Yoel Romero's in there. We're sparring. Saturday sparring is crazy cool. And he said, you don't remember this, but you walked over to me and your head was split open. And I still have a little scar here. He said, you had blood coming down your head. And I looked at you and I said, what the hell happened? And you're like, Yoel hit me with an axe kick. And you just wiped the blood off your head. And you were like, fuck it. It's part of the sport. And you turned around and you walked back out. And he said, you don't remember, but I looked at you and went, if that old motherfucker can have that attitude, I better get back out here.
And now he's fighting bare knuckle.
And he said, I knew from then on, I had to live outside my comfort zone in this sport to be any good. And those are the moments where we don't realize how we're affecting people. Sometimes negatively when we act out, but when you lead, and I try.
Yes, the smallest thing that you don't see like an encounter, they do.
Yeah, you try and lead by example. So my contribution to the team is attitude and work ethic. You can't have a more positive attitude than me. You can't outwork me, and you can't have a stronger desire to learn than me.
And you've always had these attributes?
In my 20s in business, I started thinking about it, and I said, you're never the smartest guy in the room. You're not the most skilled. You don't have some extensive education. So what do you bring to the table as a business person? And I came up with those three things. And I said to myself, no one can outwork you. I'm not talking about hours. I'm talking about when you work, be the most focused, hardworking person there is in the room. No one can have daily a more positive attitude. Nobody can walk in the door going, yeah, let's do it. Let's have a powerful day. More than you every day. And no one can have a stronger desire to learn. And if you think about those three things, and I say this because anybody can choose to have those three things. Anybody.
My question to you is, how did you acquire the knowledge to go and ask yourself these three questions?
Yeah.
That is the part that interests me of you. Yeah. Because you have a lot of direction. And now that I know that you had two stable parents, that helps.
A ton.
And then you traveled the world. That opened your mind and perspective. And then you had your father's teachings guiding you throughout your life.
Yeah.
So then you got to your 20s. That's what I want to know. How did you come up with these three questions to ask yourself?
Yeah. It's especially interesting because I was a dumbass in my 20s.
Just having fun, right?
I was bulletproof and immortal. And if you didn't believe that, just ask me. In my mind, right? Okay. It was the mid-'80s. Yeah. I thought I was Don Johnson.
Oh, wow. And did you have the suit and with the open shirt?
I'll show you a picture afterwards.
We'll post it.
We'll do who did it better, me or Don Johnson. I had hair, first off. Okay. I had the hair dollop, nice. All of it. But I remember being extremely ambitious and in a very competitive business environment. High pressure sales. And I kind of said, okay, what do you have? This guy has this guy. What do you have? And I just did some introspection and I came down to, I know these are three things I can rely on because
that's what you like in others. Or you admire
I don't
in others?
have to be smart to have the best work ethic.
Correct.
I don't have to be smart to have a daily positive attitude and to infect people with that or affect people with that.
Outjoy everybody.
Yeah. And I don't have to be smart to just go, let me have a desire to learn and improve today. No matter what comes at me, what's the lesson I can learn from that, right? So those were, to me, simple, basic things. And
They're not, though. They're not.
They're not. But
because people are not thinking in this realm.
Yeah.
They're thinking in, I can't, I won't, or why should I? How come?
Correct.
Like they think of these things at that age.
Yeah.
Or they don't think at all. And they're just like, you know what? Just riding through like a surfer, just riding the wave.
Yeah. We think of, I have problems. I have obstacles.
Everybody has problems. Everybody has obstacles.
If the team that I work with, I'm blessed to coach them and mentor them. And I was in a meeting today, and one of my managers, she said, okay, here's the problem I have with that. And I let her finish, and I said, now reword that. And she looks at me and she's like, here's the challenge that I have with that. And I said, okay. So I won't let them come to me with a problem or an obstacle.
It's a blessing, man, that they have you by them.
Thank you. I'm blessed to be with them, but they have to bring me a challenge and they have to bring me a solution. Even if it's the dumbest solution you have.
It's something.
It's something, and your mind is thinking in the right way.
Yeah,
and
you're activating the
if
thought
we
process.
approach
Correct.
our lives that way, because we all think we have these tremendous problems, right?
Yeah.
My life is that, first off, get a perspective on what you do have.
Correct.
Because we all have so much more than we need.
Message. Have what? Way more than
so
what we need.
So much more than we need.
I say that all the time to my kids, and they look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah. But you know what?
They'll remember.
They will. They're going to have to get to that stage where they're going to have to get to where dad's a dumbass. He doesn't know anything. And then they're going to be an adult and say, all right, maybe he knows a little something. And then they're going to grow up and go, holy crap, I had a great dad.
Yeah.
Right? But
hopefully.
It's the same thing.
I'm aiming for that.
I thought my dad didn't know shit about my generation when I was 18, right? By the time I got to 30, I'm like, man, that's a smart man.
And he guides you still.
Yeah, he still guides me every day, right?
So 20-year-old, you were in the business, you asked yourself the question, you followed your answers. So take us to the 30, 40-year-old. Where were you there at that time?
I was still driving hard in business, but then I was very impatient. I was a guy who taught you how to do it. I gave you the way to do it. You didn't do it right. I'm going to take you to task. Now, part of that was the business environment too of the 80s and the 90s and how you managed people, right? You managed with an iron fist. Okay. And I started realizing I had a couple of good friends that worked with me. And I remember one of them, highly successful guy, big financial advisor, done amazingly well in life, but he just was out of college. He looked at me one day and he goes, I will fucking go through a wall for you. But when you yell at me and you bitch at me and you come at me, I shut down. I don't even hear you. But I love you. You teach me so much. And I think that was the only thing that allowed me to get away with it was I'd give him everything I had. But he said, you teach me so much and I want to do it for you, but you got to quit doing that. And I remember coming out of that business environment saying, you've got to change. You've got to stop being impatient. And then started analyzing, why are you so impatient? Why? And it's fear-based. Okay. You're impatient because you think he's going to do it wrong. That's going to fuck up the business, and that's going to reflect on you. And that's why you're treating him that way. It's really your own fear, right?
And how'd you come to that answer?
Just by... It's so much of it, and you know this. You probably know what I'm going to say. It's starting to be self-aware. It's starting to can you sit quietly with yourself? And I'm a big believer in meditation and positive affirmations. Yes. I do it daily. But can you sit quietly and understand who you are, both your strengths and your challenges and your liabilities, right?
Yes.
And when you can start saying, because how many times have we gotten mad at somebody and lost our temper? And we regret it. We're like,
every time.
Almost every time.
Even if you're right.
You're right. I was right, but I made you know I was right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and it's a shitty feeling, right? And I would have those moments and start saying, is that the guy you want to be?
That's the question. See, so the podcast is to show how a person got from one place to another in the same obstacle, same earth, same day-to-day, same 24 hours. How did you do it? And then you're explaining to us that you had these affirmations, questions. Yeah. You gained the answers by obtaining them by self, right?
Yeah.
Analyzing and really taking time.
Who do you want to be?
There's people that don't have the time to do this. And then they have the same questions, but don't have the time to spend time with yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't know. So then you look at successful people and you think that they're doing correctly when they might not be doing it in private. But in the limelight, you see them shining.
You said it, and it's something we talked about a few minutes ago. so many of us want what we see.
Correct.
So you see that guy that's successful and he's got the beautiful girl and the fast car and the home, and you're like, that's what I want. That guy's got that watch. I want that. Mm-hmm. And what you're chasing isn't what you want. You're chasing what other people have.
Illusion, man.
And you'll never get it. Because guess what? When you get the car, when you get the girl, you're getting the girl for the wrong reasons. The car isn't going to satisfy you. It's just a material object. And you haven't identified what is in your spirit of what really makes you happy and what makes you fulfilled.
Yeah, knowledge of self. You have to really understand what ticks you the right way, what ticks you the wrong way, what that feeling brings to thought, and what that thought really means.
Yeah, what value does it add in your life?
Yeah, because people have feelings, actions, and then they think about it. If you have a feeling, you have a thought, then you do an action, you'll be fine.
And so much of it, now that you said it, is can you control your thoughts, right? And we don't.
At times, I think I'm discussing my thoughts with myself, and really I'm like obtaining information that sometimes I didn't even know. Yeah. And it happens to me when I talk to my kids, because sometimes I'll be in the middle of like lecturing them, and then in the back of my head I would tell myself like, you've made the same mistake. Like, I'll be like, really? Sophia, you really gonna tell me now that? And then I'm like, damn, I made that mistake as well.
Yes.
So then it alters my mood, and I'm like, listen, don't worry, it's gonna work out. Just make sure that you do what you feel inside, and I try to give them the right guidance. That's
brilliant. But that's being self-aware.
Exactly.
And that's the big challenge, right?
Exactly.
Think about this for a minute. The average person has about 60,000 thoughts a day, okay? Which is kind of literally and figuratively hard to wrap your head around. Now, what do? We wake up, we look at social media, like, okay, I want this, I want that, that person's got a better life, that person's got oh shit, the world's gonna end. Look at the news, oh my God, look at all these wars. Holy cow, now they're raising taxes, they're cutting this. And that's what we get caught up in, right? Yeah. And then you go to work and you're stressed, and then you come home and you go to bed. Oh, but let me get on social media again before. Oh shit, I want that, and that's fucked up. And then you go back to bed and you wake up in the morning, and what do? What do we know is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over.
Expecting a different result.
You're in a stressed place, and you wake up and you feed yourself all the same stuff. And what you're looking at, what you're reading, what you're watching, you are consuming. Correct. You're feeding yourself, correct, right? The reason that I am such an advocate of affirmations is because the world is now programming you, how you're going to think, how you're going to act, and how you're going to function. The world, the outside world, is programming you. No wonder you're stressed. No wonder you're anxious. No wonder you're chasing something that will never bring you true fulfillment, right?
Correct.
So for me, and some people pray, some people don't, I pray in the morning because it helps clear my head and kind of, it sets the table.
Yeah, you show it in your documentary. Right? You sit in your balcony?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I do affirmations.
Yeah.
And my affirmations are just sit quietly, and I program my brain with 2 words, which are, any psychologist will tell you, are the most powerful words. I am, right? Like one of them, for example, is I just sit there and I say, I am blessed. And I can't think, Gene, I can't think of all the blessings I have. I can only think of 3 or 4.
It's a Rolodex of memories.
There's so many good things. I'll tip, like this morning I did, and I said, let me think of all the good things I'm going to have today. This podcast was one of them. I thought about my day. I thought about the stadium stairs I was going to go run, the opportunity I have to do that, and I think of that blessing. But that's an example of just programming your brain.
Or deprogramming yourself from what you've seen.
Yes, because I'm putting these positive thoughts in there. And
positive thinking, manifestation comes with affirmation. And
all I think about is my blessings. And I do like 3 sets of that, right? So I'll do 6 or 8 different affirmations, and some of them will change. I have a core that I keep every day.
Okay.
Like, I'm protected by God. I'm safe, because our anxiety comes from fear.
Correct.
And then the things I need to work on. For example, if I was impatient with somebody the day before, probably today it's going to be, I am patience. And I kind of visualize the moment that made me impatient and how I want to handle that next time. But I'm literally going to program my thought process of how I'm going to think I'm going to act and I'm going to function on a daily basis.
Okay.
I'm not saying affirmations are the only way to do that. You can get it through
It's your
reading
way.
the right things.
The way you like to do it.
But that's the way that I do it. But it's about, that helps me to control my thoughts, right? And if you've ever been in a bad, stressful situation and then something happens, maybe your wife comes in and makes you smile,
And you lash, yeah. Or
and instantly your thoughts change and your whole feeling inside your body
demeanor
changes
changes.
because something changed your thoughts, right?
Yes.
So we know that happens.
So control your thoughts.
Control your thoughts, but you have to be, the thing you keep
Aware.
coming back to, you have to be self-aware
Yes.
of those thoughts and of what you want, what's really important to you in life, not what you see, but what really is important to you in life that you want.
I think you obtained that gift early in life because in the 20s you evolved to use it. On 30 you practiced it. So now the 40s and 50s, take us there.
40s, again, a lot of things I was pushing for in business, and I was always grateful, always appreciative.
Okay.
Was in the mortgage industry, owned and operated brokerages throughout Florida. In 2008, recession hit.
Wow. Okay. Wake up call.
So even though I was appreciative of what I had, went under like that, because when the mortgage industry, when the recession hit, it hit the mortgage
tanked.
industry first. And I was literally on the phone with a Fannie Mae lender that did $60 billion in loans the year before, on the phone, and she said, Stuart, Shearson Lehman Brothers pulled our warehouse line. We're out of business. Gene, I didn't comprehend it. I'm like, well, what, in 30 days? She goes, we're out of business. And I said, well, can we finish this quote? She said, Stuart,
We're out of business.
I'm out. Click. Last time I ever spoke to her. So we were making no money. I had a house in Coral
Came to a halt.
Gables, a couple of Porsches in the driveway, a Jag in the driveway, came to a halt. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Oh, wow. I'm so happy you said that word because I was going to say, how did you obtain enough strength to handle that type of pressure?
There was a moment we used to generate. So we got out of our office, got out of that lease, went down to a rental office, like a temporary. Couldn't make money there, just my wife and I, right? Couldn't make money there. Then we were doing mortgages out of the house. Not even legal, but we were still trying to do it. And there was a moment, all of our income came from direct mail. That's what generated leads. There was 1 week where I looked and said, I can drop direct mail or I can buy groceries. And that was a horrible moment. I'm looking at my son at the time, is probably 8 or 9 years old. Hid it from him, of course, right? My wife and I had one argument over money that whole time. Got a phone call from someone that I used to be my employee that had opened a business, sports nutrition supplement business, and he'd blown up, multi-million-dollar business, and he picked up the phone and said, hey, no, the mortgage business isn't doing good. Would you consider coming on board? It was literally a gift from God. But it reset us in a perspective, reset us of what we didn't need: 2 Porsches, a Jag, and that big-ass home in the Gables. What we needed was each other. What we needed was to buy groceries. We wanted a good place to live, but we didn't need all that, right?
Yeah, those are just extra.
And they're extras. And if you can have them, great.
Yeah.
But it isn't what kept us together. What kept us together was love through that time.
That's what you need.
Right, and that's what you need, right? So I think that reset us, and certainly I've been blessed to have a relatively successful business career since then.
Nice.
But it reset my perspective on what's important and trying to live like on the edge of your means as opposed to living, hey, let me live below my means and be okay and know that if something happens, I can still come out of that, right?
See, now I gotta understand, because before all this, I was like, how would you? I played soccer my whole life. I'm 45 right now. I think twice before I want to go run and play with these kids, because for 2-3 days I'm hurting. Because you say, oh, I'm not going to compete. I'm just going to touch the ball around. But then you get competitive. People start talking.
Of
You know how
course.
it goes.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, let's play.
Absolutely.
For 2 or 3 days, I'm hurting. So I'm thinking you're in a physical contact
So,
battle.
yeah, and I was 48. I'd always lifted weights.
Yeah.
But I always wanted the box. couldn't find a boxing guy. Friend of mine that I work with was a kickboxer. I'm like, I don't want to kick. That's silly, right? Let me just train you. He's a pro kickboxer. Trains me one time. I always thought I was an athlete until that moment.
Did you play any sports before, prior?
I played football and wrestled in high school.
Okay,
so I thought I was an athlete, right?
Okay.
And then I did one class with him, and I remember at the end of it, he said, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to hit me. And at this point, I'm like, I know how good he is. And I'm like, no. He's like, no, I'm not going to hit you back. I'm like, no, Santi, no. And he goes, Stuart, I'm not going to. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to stand right here next to you, give you 30 seconds to hit me. After 15 seconds of not hitting him, I was standing there going, exhausted. And I went home,
air, just swinging.
went home that night, and I'm like, I never felt more humbled athletically. He could have killed me. I couldn't have stopped it. And I just said to myself, that was the hardest thing I've ever done, physically or athletically, and the worst. I've never felt so bad. I got to do it again.
Wow.
I got to be good at this.
Okay.
And it just lit a fire in me. So I started training, and I was horrible. Remember the old Rock'em Sock'em robots? That was me, right? I remember at one point I was training for about 6 months, and the guy that was coaching me, he said, throw a high kick. And I kicked him on the top of his quad. And he said, no, bro, I said a high kick. And I'm like, it was above your knee, motherfucker.
That's high for me.
That's how stiff I was.
Wow.
So it was so hard, and it took so much. And I would come home, just what you said, so exhausted. And then, I already had bad knees. I didn't have an ACL in my right knee.
Okay.
And obviously, kickboxing, Muay Thai is not conducive.
You need your legs.
It's not going to make those knees better, right? So I trained, like a lot of guys. I trained, sparred a little, loved it, but didn't take it really seriously. And then I started also training at a place called K.O.S. The owner's a guy named Diego De Vera. Diego says, we're going to test for some belts. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we tested for some belts, made it up to a brown belt over the years. And then when I was 55, he walks up to me and he says, okay, it's time to test for your black belt.
Oof.
And I'm like, holy shit. So at this point, I just started training with Greg Choplin, three-time WBC world champion. You know him from the documentary.
Yes.
So I walked up to Greg. This is, if you've played soccer your whole life, you never win an argument with your coach, ever, right? Your coach is never wrong, and usually they prove that
you can't even argue.
You can't even argue. This is the only argument I ever won with Greg. So I walked up to him and I said, hey man, Diego wants me to test for my black belt. I don't think I'm ready. Gene, I was probably looking for a compliment, right? And Greg looks at me and he says, I have a different take on it.
Oh.
Like what? He's like, I don't think you can be a black belt until you've taken a fight. And he turns and he walks away. And I'm staring at the back of his head. And in my mind, I'm like,
taking a fight.
You motherfucker. You fucking called me out. God damn, I can't believe
now I have to do it.
And I said, he'll never ask me again. I know him. But now I have to do it.
Again.
That fantasy I had in my head that I could knock dudes out, that whole thing that I imagined. Now, this was my moment of truth. Are you going to be who you think you are? And it scared the hell out of me.
Wow.
And I knew I had to do it. So I waited about a week because I had to okay, convict. Because if you tell Greg you're going to do it.
You were meditating in the mornings in this time? All right. Okay, so you were thinking about this.
But I said to myself, if you say yes.
You got to go through it.
It's full on. It's your entire conviction of your soul is going to be in this. It's not an amateur fight. It is your soul for this fight, right?
Yeah, it's you against you.
So I walked up to him and I said, okay, I want to fight. And now he does the takeaway. He's like, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to.
I'm like, what do you mean? You're going to have to live the Spartan life. You can't party. You're going to train 6 days a week. You're going to train twice a day. You don't want to do this shit. You don't want to live this life. I'm like, no, I do. He says, okay, I'm going to France for a couple weeks. I'll be gone for 3 weeks. I'll come back. We'll talk about it. Leaves, comes back. I've dropped like 15 pounds.
You've been working out the whole time.
I've been eating right, training my ass off. He looks at me and he says, you're serious? And I said, yeah, I'm serious. Okay. This is the argument I won. I said, okay, I'm 55. He says, I'll get you a fight with somebody in their 50s. And I'll be, nope.
Ooh. Did you even think he was going to say that?
No. And so I knew what I wanted.
I knew.
He said, all right. 40s. I'll get you somebody in their 40s. no. He rolls his eyes like, all right, I'll get you somebody in the 30s. I said, Greg, let me be clear. You will get me a first or second time fighter, like any other fighter.
Equal.
And if I lose, it isn't because he's 22. And if I win, it's not because I'm 55. The best fucking fighter is going to win. And if it's anything different than that, I won't take the fight.
Okay, where did you get that knowledge to think in that direction? Because anybody would have a doubt. Or you have to have
I
that
want
doubt.
the challenge.
Okay.
I don't want the asterisk that I beat a guy my age that just started. I want the challenge of beating a guy at any age that's at my level. I don't want a grade on a curve because I'm 55.
Do you want to do it because you want to beat the doubt, or you want to do it because you want to prove it to yourself?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. Beat the doubt that I can do it, but prove it to myself that I can. But
By
what
doing
motivates
so.
me,
Got it.
what motivates me is when I'm sparring with a kid that's 22, because I'm like, all
You're
right,
with them.
I got you.
You're dancing.
I got you. We're
Yeah.
going to go. We're going
All
to
right.
dance. Yeah. And it wouldn't motivate me. Listen, there's lifelong martial artists that are my age that could beat my ass. They're at higher levels. But it wouldn't motivate me to fight a guy my age that's his first fight. It just wouldn't motivate me. I want to beat a young athletic guy or fight a young athletic guy
The same knowledge of
with the same level. That's what I want. That's what motivates me. That's what fires me up. Does that kind of make sense?
It makes you feel complete in the sense of like, I know I could do it. I want to do it. I did it.
And I don't have an asterisk that I beat some guy my age.
Even though you have to battle all the pain and all the doubt, and then it got you there.
Yeah.
So how'd you feel in the tournament going to the fight?
It was the most intense, both fear and joy that I've ever had, right?
Okay.
There is actually, again, I have a picture of this. I looked at my opponent right before we went out in my first fight. And I remember looking at him and I had this moment of, what the hell am I doing here?
Doubt.
The fuck?
Fear.
How did I end up here?
Mike Tyson talks about this.
Right?
He's like, before I get in there,
Can I get out of here?
Yeah.
Would anybody notice if I just left? Right? You have this moment. And then I look back at him, and I swear this is true. And I looked at my corner, and I saw Manolo Lopez, 35 years of coaching experience, Pan American champion, MMA Hall of Fame. I saw Greg Choplin, 3-time WBC World Muay Thai champion. I saw my wife in my corner.
Nice.
And I saw a legion of fighters behind me. And I looked at them, and I looked back at him, and in my mind I said,
It's on.
you can't fucking beat me, because they love me and they are fucking inside me. I'm going to take your fucking soul. You can't beat me because they are in me and I have more power than you. I swear to you,
You thought
Gene,
it and you felt this.
I felt it inside. That was my thought, and I felt it. And I'm just like,
Let's
give
go.
me him.
Let's
Give
go.
me him
Let's go.
now.
All right.
And I was blessed. I won that fight.
Yes.
God was with me that night.
That was amazing. I saw the fight. I was like, yo, this is amazing. You fell a couple of times. It was hard. You were finding your groove, your balance.
That fight was not in the documentary. So
that wasn't the first one with the...
No, that's the first fight in a ring.
Oh.
So that fight was not. So this was the
underground.
tournament.
Underground
No,
tournament?
it was the tournament that inspired me
To do
to
what you
make the
did.
documentary.
Oh,
right. So
okay.
I won that fight, got to the finals, and then lost in the finals, and that's when the kid held my hand up. But that's the moment that inspired me to say, man, I don't even know how to make a documentary. I don't know what this is going to turn out.
It's a good
like,
one.
because it's not scripted. I don't know what it looks like. So I walked off that night knowing I wanted to do this, and I went to my partner, who's now my partner, a guy named Carlos Arieta, who owns Roar Post. I'd done a television show with my wife and him about 5 years earlier, and he said, man, if you ever want to do another project, come see me. And I'm like, I will if I have something.
Okay.
So now I had something. So I sat down and kind of like I'm doing now, I poured my heart out. This is what I've been doing. This is what I want to do. And Carlos looked at me with this profound kind of wisdom. And he said, this ain't a fighting documentary. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, nah, this ain't a fighting story.
This is a life story.
He said, bro, this is a story of love.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. And I said, you're right. It's the love of a dream. It's the love of the people around me that inspire me to push harder, to be the best, because they give me so much. It's the love of wanting to achieve something that to me is exceptional. And it is. And he said, we're not going to tell a fighting story. We're going to tell a story of love.
And it was told very well, man. I enjoyed it. It was
Thank
a nice
you.
one.
Thank you.
And after the documentary, were you like, okay, I'm a fighter now. Everybody knows my story. Is there more pressure now than before? Or
no.
do you feel like, okay, I got this. I just got to follow the script and I'm okay?
No, you know, I get, you always get these haters on social media that call you out once in a while. But I don't play into that. After I won my last fight, and I was blessed to fight for a championship, as you know, I was going to defend my title. And you're married?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, sometimes your wife hits you with wisdom that you can't answer.
Yeah. Every day.
Every day, right?
Yeah.
So she sets me down and she looks at me and she's like, you're 62 years old. Yeah. What the hell else do you have to prove? Oof. Look what you've accomplished. Look what you've accomplished more than you ever thought you could. You fucking won a championship.
You've gone from nothing to something
Nothing
a couple
to
of
something.
times.
She's like, and you know what happens. They're going to send killers for you. You're a champion. You know how this ends at some point.
Okay.
And I want you around.
Yeah.
So I will be in your corner as I always have. I'm never going to ask you to stop sparring. I'm never going to ask you to stop training. I am asking you not to fight again.
Oof.
So I didn't give her an answer. I said, let me think about it. And then I said, you're this guy that's been talking about a documentary for 6 years now.
Okay.
And you become that guy. Hey, I'm going to do a documentary. Hey, and you're like, we all know the guy like, hey, I'm going to go to Hollywood and be a movie star. And everybody's like, okay, good. He's full of shit, right?
Yeah.
I'd become that guy. I don't know if I was, but
more pressure.
But I just said, all right,
let's do it.
Take that energy in fighting and finish what you started. Quit talking about it. Bring this thing to fruition. So I took that fighting energy to finish the documentary, to get it edited, to get it into distribution. And it took another 3 years before we finally got it streaming into all those platforms, into Amazon and Google and iTunes. And that's where I channeled my energy. And I've never quit sparring. In my mind, I could take a fight tomorrow, and I'm still down at Freedom Fighters every Saturday, 5-minute round against pro MMA fighters.
Wow.
And that's my fight now. That's where I push myself and everything I train for during the week. That keeps me motivated to stay in my best shape.
So
and to
there's no fight coming in the near future, nothing like that?
No, you know what, Gene, I would do, I think for the right opportunity, I'd do an exhibition, have some fun. Certainly I would do that, especially to drive this message, to drive the message of the documentary.
To promote and show
I
your
absolutely
efforts,
would. But at some point, you know, I like my coach, Greg Choplin, retired as the Muay Thai champion for WBC. And I just went, all right, let me take this opportunity. Let me finish the project that's really, I'm simply, as you know, the conduit to deliver this message. That's all I am, man.
Okay.
So, but let me finish the project and make this thing happen and see how many lives we can affect in a positive way with it.
You will. I strongly believe that you will, because it is powerful. It does drive a message, and it's entertaining. And I like I was telling you earlier, I like the fact that you interviewed the other fighters.
Yes.
So they get to say like, yo, I got fought against this guy, and I knew he was of age, and I was like, wow, that's a good take on the documentary.
You didn't know his perspective, right?
Now you do.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, okay, you get both sides of it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a huge extra layer. I called Carlos and I said, hey, I'm taking another fight. You don't want to film it, do you? That's how I approached it, Gene. He's like, absolutely. I'm like, shit.
Now you're in.
Because it's another layer of pressure, because they're going to go to him and say, can you sign this image release? And he's going to say, sure.
Wow.
I'll sign it. Not giving you the ending you want, but I'm going to sign it, right? So now you're filming it. And I remember during that training camp, I would have moments where I would think, okay, all my friends know we're filming this for the documentary. What if I get knocked out in the first round? How is that a documentary? How is that telling the story? What if I get fucked up? What if in 30, and then I would control your thoughts. All of a sudden I'd go, okay, that's the fucking cancer. You just planted a tumor in your body, and you're going to let it grow. Every thought you have, that's
negative
a tumor.
thought.
And I would literally stop and say, visualize. And I would visualize the fight. I would visualize the worst moments of the fight. I would sit there in quiet meditation and visualize what happened in the first round. I visualized. You're getting your ass kicked. You are absolutely out on your feet. You're getting mauled. You look up and there's still a minute left in the round. How are you going to think and act and function? And I would visualize that, Gene, and I would say, okay, this is who you're going to be in that moment. This is how you're going to function. And I would visualize the worst and how I was going to come through it and how I was going to overcome it. And ironically, what happened in that first round?
It was just that.
I got a standing 8 count. I was out on my feet. I didn't know where I was. I barely survived. And I came back not to win that fight, but to win the third round and to learn. And as you saw, the fight was kind of a rocky fight.
Yeah.
And him and his coach picked me up and carried me around the ring. You can't script that stuff.
Can't.
Like,
That's
how does
love.
that happen?
Like you said,
That's
it's love for the sport, love for the competition, and the fact that you inspired people.
He and I are good friends to this day.
Yeah,
And
I would be too. I'd be like, yeah, that's awesome, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
yeah.
Cool, man. It was a great experience, and I was like telling people today at work, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go interview Stuart, and they're like, oh, who is he? I'm like, the fighter. He's like, well, how old is he? And we would get to that, and they'll be like, what? Nobody believed it. I'm like, you'll see it. You'll understand.
Thank you, brother. I
All right,
appreciate
so we get to the end of the podcast. I always ask a few questions.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is just whatever comes to mind when I ask the question, and we'll discuss it from there. And knowing your mind, it's going to be very interesting.
You don't know.
I don't know what you're going to say.
I don't
dude.
either.
All right. You remember the movie Bronx Tale?
Yeah.
Vaguely, right?
Yeah. That
Well, there's-
was with De Niro, was the
Niro.
dad. Yeah. And then the mafia guy. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a scene where the kid asks the mafia guy, would you rather be loved or feared?
Yeah. Loved.
Loved?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Love wins.
Love wins. All right. Knowing or understanding?
Understanding.
Why is that?
Because understanding will lead you to more knowledge and it will lead you to more love. When you can understand somebody, then you can comprehend what's important to them and you
Okay.
can accomplish more together.
All right. This next one's a good one because you went through what you spoke of earlier. Wealth or riches?
Wealth.
Why is that?
Wealth can be measured in so many other ways. Riches come and go. Wealth is how many people love you, how many people support you. Wealth is what your legacy is of how many people you've affected in this world.
It's not a dollar amount.
No.
You're not thinking of wealth like in money.
No.
Message. Awesome. Perception or reality?
Contingent on, I think I always have a perception of positivity. And sometimes the world around me is a different reality. So it'd be contingent on what I'd qualify that. If it's the perception of positivity, I'm gonna lock in on that all day, right? But we do also need to understand the reality of our world, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I believe the perception that you portray builds and makes your reality.
Correct. You're 100% right.
All right. Joy or happiness?
Joy.
What is that?
It's more consistent. One of my affirmations every day is I am joy.
Okay. That's awesome. Where'd you come with that idea?
It's interesting because you talk about childhood. And
Yeah.
when I say that affirmation to myself, I think of the joy we had as little kids when we didn't know the world, how evil it can be or how brutal it can be.
Everything is new.
And so I just think of be that little kid that had pure joy. When you experience today, experience that joy, right? And to me, that's a
When
daily...
you had the fight and you put your hand up, that's the
that
joy.
joy.
You never felt that before.
Yeah.
No experience.
Yeah.
That's why it's so much joy as a kid.
Yes.
Everybody's always saying to me like, oh man, I wish I could go back as a kid. It was so much fun. I was like, yeah, because you didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Everything was new. So it's so amazing. The reason people get jaded when they get older is because those experiences they already had.
Yes.
So everything seems like robotic and you repeat it again.
And you're chasing that next one.
Exactly. So you want joy, you can't get it. That's a good one. All right. The phrase power of choice. What do you believe in that?
I think that comes back to controlling your thoughts. You choose. You said something earlier about the decisions we make in life. and I'm not the first person to say this. Listen, if your life's fucked up, it is the sum of your choices,
Actions.
right?
Yes.
So that doesn't mean you can't change it today, though. The choices that you make are
Correct.
what's going to create your world.
Correct. The yin and the yang aspect of it. Correct. Good problems. What do you think of that?
I think of challenges.
I have to fight this young kid, 30 years younger than me. I got to fight him.
That's a challenge,
That's
man.
a good problem.
It's a great challenge, right?
Correct. Emotional intelligence.
Probably one of the most valuable assets a human being can have. Because again, it comes back to what you said. First off, be self-aware and then understand what's really important to you and to other people. Emotional intelligence is so undervalued. That's how you can control and create your world.
How come they don't teach us this in elementary school?
I know. They should, right?
You know what they teach us is nonsense. I remember in school I used to learn stuff and be like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But what did I know? I was just a kid. I always say it here, like, all I know is that we don't know.
Yeah.
And I stick with that because it helps me get through all the crazy noise that you spoke of. All right. Oh, I've been wanting to ask you this one. Pain versus suffering.
I like to suffer because I know that there's growth on the other end of it. I want to run towards it. It's one of the things my coach said at a hard training session in the first training camp I was in. He told me, "You suck today. You're horrible, Greg." And I'm like, Greg, my knees are swollen. I'm exhausted. We trained for 2 hours before we sparred. I gave him every excuse I could. And he said, "You don't get it. You're supposed to be tired. You're supposed to be sore. You're supposed to be exhausted, because if you're not," and I remember these words, he said, "if you're not, then don't call yourself a fighter and be sure you'll never be a champion. You need to run to the pain, run towards it, run towards the suffering, because that's where you're going to grow."
You know who does that? The buffalo. You ever heard of that?
No.
Buffaloes are the only animals that run towards the snow.
No
Because
shit.
they know that they'll get through it quicker if they face it head on instead of running from it. So in the wintertime, all animals run away from the snow. The buffalo runs towards it.
Amazing.
When I learned that, again, the encyclopedia. When I was a kid, I was like, this is so cool.
We need to explain to your audience what an encyclopedia is.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it's a book that you would go and it would be like in alphabetical order from A to Z. And if you want to know about zebras, you grab the Z.
Yep.
And you open up, and then all animals, countries, whatever starts with the letter Z, you get it there.
Yep.
So as a kid, I was telling Stuart that I would always get in trouble, and my mom would be like, grab a book and read me 2 or 3 pages. And then I would have to like tell her what I read.
What a great punishment. She was brilliant.
Not when you're 11, 12 years old,
right.
man.
But in the long run, what a great punishment.
Yes. And then the funny thing is that I used to go to school, and I used to tell my friends, like, hey, did you know that the buffaloes run towards it? And they'll be like, man, I don't care.
Who cares?
Like, who cares, bro? What are you talking about? I was like, oh, okay.
Fun facts to know and keep to yourself.
Correct. So I like to tell people that I was always like surfing the web without no web. I was always finding different things, and that's cool, man. All right, so you run towards it. That's great. Good message for the people out there. Logic or intuition?
Intuition.
Why is that?
If you're in touch with yourself,
Again, knowledge yourself.
it's going to lead you to the right path. Logic might be somebody else's logic. Intuition is what your gut is telling you, but you just have to be self-aware to listen to it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't do it because they don't do what you said. Run towards it.
Yeah.
Like your intuition tells you, okay, I got to do this, but I know it's going to be hard. People don't want hard. They want easy,
Correct.
right? So that's a good message. Intelligence versus experience.
Experience.
Why is that?
I know a lot of intelligent people that lead stupid lives.
Don't do nothing. I know a lot of intelligent people that are stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And experience, if you choose to learn from experience in a
Correct.
positive way,
Correct.
is life-changing.
All right. Discipline or self-respect? Which one do you value more?
I have an expression. Everything good in life comes from discipline, right? Because successful people do what unsuccessful people don't want to do. And discipline is going to, if we understand our intuition, we understand ourselves, discipline is going to be the steps, the building blocks to get us what we want to achieve in this life.
All right. And last one, depression versus sadness.
Sadness. Sadness is okay to experience.
Yeah, you lose, you're sad.
You can, it's okay. You can take it in and say, all right, let me feel that pain. Allow me to feel it, whatever that pain is. You broke up with somebody, you lost your job. Feel the sadness. But then, okay, now what am I going to do with that? We have an expression in fighting, you win or you learn, right? So if you lost a fight,
lose.
You're sad. But okay, now what are you going to do with it? Go ahead and feel it.
Yeah.
It's good to feel. Don't hide it. It's okay. And even as a man, it's okay to feel it. It's okay to cry. But now what are you going to do with it? Right? Make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
All right. I brought you a present.
Yes, I know. I saw that you brought the bag. Let's see what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's a different kind of color. I think I'll get you another one in black now that
I like
see
this
how
color.
Do you? Okay.
Hold on. Let me put this here. Oh, I like it. Check this out, guys.
You got a handsome guy on your shirt.
And then in the back it says, we all have a fight.
We all have a fight, brother. We all do.
And then in the front it says, taking the fight.
Yep.
Wow, this is amazing. Thank you, brother. I appreciate this.
My privilege, man. Thank you for having me.
It was a
here.
blessing and an honor to have you here, man. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for reaching out. Let everybody know where to find you, where to find the documentary, how to get a hold of you, and then anything that's coming up in the near future.
You got it. Documentary can be seen on Amazon Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, and iTunes. Just put Taking the Fight into your search.
Yeah, I'll have the link in the bio and the YouTube.
Or you can go to takingthefight.com and watch the trailer there. And there's actually where to watch streaming. You can click on any of those. I'm on Instagram, Stuart Warren Dansby. Trailers there. Reach out to me there. Anybody can DM me. I have a lot of fighters. Now it's interesting, a lot of older fighters DMing me, asking me questions. Some here in South Florida that have actually had the blessing to train. And a lot of people that just DM me about the theme of the documentary of how do I overcome this? How do I battle through this depression? I'm struggling. Kind of some of the questions you're asking, how do I do this? And that to me is an absolute privilege to try and help those people and give them some sort of guidance and hopefully just a little bit of inspiration along the way.
Love, all love.
Thank you, brother.
Awesome,
Appreciate
brother.
you.
Thank you again. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you learned a lot. I know I did. I learned that we all have a fight.
We all do, every one of us.
Listen to your intuition, harness the energy, exercise wisdom, live, love, and laugh. Thank you, guys. Peace.